Good morning, everyone. I'm having some camera difficulties here, so there we go. I'm not trying to. Let's do it like this. Okay, so I came across this really sad, great song. And it basically falls in the lines of this young artist who I really hope she makes it big, because she had enough cojones, she was brave enough to create a song that is part of today's culture. And it's basically, I think the song's called Good Enough or Pretty Enough. And basically she's saying pretty enough to fuck, but not pretty enough to keep, kind of thing. And I can relate to that. I've had some situations, where I've been used. And I even have a group called Man Facts for the ladies, for this very reason, because I don't know what would possess a guy to, especially if the girl was a virgin. I mean, I didn't really delve into her situation. I could probably go back and find out the details when, another time. But the message alone was really, was right there. And I'm going to go with her song. And I can't remember the girl's name at this moment, but when I post this video, I will definitely have her name in there, and you can check her out. So, anyways, so there's Jeff Foxworthy, right? Well, I think I'm gonna do a little parody spin off of it, and that's gonna be, you might be a dirtbag, because you really don't hear a lot of women being douchebags, so we're gonna call them what it is. We're gonna say, you might be a dirtbag. And I think that's where I'm gonna focus on next, is I'm gonna create that video. And I mean, and if you wear it, if you have a hat in there or a shoe in there that fits, wear it. Own your shit, people. Not everybody's perfect. There is no such thing as perfection anymore. Even if how many people strive to get there and stress the fuck out of their lives, destroy their families to get there. Whatever it is that people have done to self-sabotage or self-disintegrate their lives, those choices were on you. Nobody else. Another thing I'd like to mention is, because I'm a mother, I want to go ahead and put this warning out, because there have been prior cases, however you want to say it, of and news. There's been a lot of news cases on this. Now, I understand that some people are really, using some terrible, I came across the post, and I actually commented on it. And they wanted to know why people do so, crazy things and feel no remorse and stuff. And my spinoff is they want to justify shitty behavior. They have poor excuses for doing terrible shit to people. And they get away with it. And I have to say, I'm appalled of how many things that I've heard people do, seen people do things, and I'm just like, well, if there was a lawyer for that, I mean, yeah, defamation of character, but I mean, like, seriously, purposely setting the other parent up to fail. Like, I mean, you could go and someone insists, oh, put me on as your job application as a reference and stuff, right? I had this happen. I put I thought I could trust and that would have my back as a job reference. And lo and behold, I found out many years later they said terrible things. Talk about a slap in the face. I mean, this woman was so intent on controlling my life and my husband's life at the time, my children's lives, that she insisted that she would let me know what job I could have. I mean, there was a time where this woman went out of her way, because I was in a struggling situation, and she went as far as let me know when she bought me a vehicle that I couldn't leave town. And then when everything kind of went haywire, so, you know, a gift is a gift. And now demanding the money back. And I'm just like, well, then we should have stated up front a payment plan. We should have stated up front in a contract kind of situation, right? So perception on gifts, perception on nice things being done, usually kind of incurls that there is an agenda. And it's sad that everybody seems to have agenda. Nobody can just seem to cruise through life on their own. Cruise through and, like, you know, put in the bare minimum on your own at least. I mean, constantly there's people that are like, I need to be coddled. I need to be taken care of. I need to have you fix everything. And they don't want to participate in their relationship. They don't want to participate in building a foundation with you. They don't want to do anything. They just want to continually control the situation. Control what comes out of your mouth by you having to walk on eggshells. It's sad how humanity is becoming extinct from since I was born to the time now. I've witnessed a lot of changes, some good, most bad. Especially in the dating world, or I should say that the dating field of life, whatever it is. I literally am terrified for my own children to partake in dating because of all the stuff that I had to witness during my marriage, during my divorce, during me trying to attempt to date. Yeah, I mean, this is some crazy shit that... So let's go back to this girl's song. You know there's something wrong with society, or there's a glitch or something in the programs of life, DNA, whatever they want to fucking blame shitty excuse, you know, blame behavior with shitty excuses and justifying that it's okay to do. So I'm going to go right and dive right in to my main point. If someone's a virgin and they give it to you, don't ghost them. Don't give their first love experience a traumatic heartbreak, you know? So my first love, I was 21. lost my virginity. Right? Shocking, right? I hope that some people wait till much later. We had a near-death experience in a almost car accident, like an almost head-on car accident. This guy was my supervisor at my job. And this is one of the main reasons why I say don't date your coworkers. Don't date your superiors at work. And even though I was pregnant, there was a good possibility that the baby wasn't his because of an unfortunate event that had taken place. One of these days I'll go into that, but this guy was about 7-8 years older than me. And he was Chicano. He was my first love but I ended up finding out afterwards I wasn't in love with him because when he would try and still see me and his ex-girlfriend, that was how my mother was setting me up with who I believe, because the doctors and the nurses had told me, is my child's father. Now I probably could have went about that and did the whole abortion thing, but I chose not to. Now, one person I said I loved, one person was a complete stranger to me and was basically a very good friend of my mother. Well, I don't know about friend, but and my new stepfather, or my mom who was engaged to this Mexican guy. And how things went down, I don't agree, but it happened. And I was foolish. And I got pregnant. Now, first I was engaged, and then the engagement was broke off because this guy went back to his ex. So I thought it was okay to give him my virginity because we were engaged. What I was not aware, because nobody warned me, nobody told me anything about how some guys can be real dirtbags. And they'll say about anything to get in your pants. I want that to change. I want that to be where a man and, because I'm not going to say a girl or boy, because girls and boys have no business getting married. Girls and boys have no business having children. So I really want to express how much I want to make a change in today's society, because just because we have a book that said that we had a 15-year-old virgin doesn't mean we need to go around sleeping with 14 and 15-year-old girls. And boys don't need to be having sex as early as 10 years old. This is ridiculous. There's so many points on this subject that I want to make, but I'm not trying to ruffle too many feathers at the same time. So I'm going to just dive in one subject at a time. I don't want to see any teenage girl crying because some horny little boy took her virginity and moved on to the next girl because he didn't know if he liked the person or not. I don't want to see that anymore. I don't want to see people bragging that they lost their virginity and are having babies under the age of 18. That needs to stop. I don't want to hear about a certain amount of abortions going on here because people just want to go ahead and be foolish and cruel. Because you are taking a life. I didn't even have the heart, and the way that my child was made and everything, I didn't even have the heart to not go through with the pregnancy. Something inside me said, don't do this. When I was pregnant with my second child, I had people telling me to have an abortion. Including the child's father. I still went through. People can tell you so much about what they think you should do and what you shouldn't do with your life. But ultimately, it is your choice. Now, I may not have any memory of what happened that night when I conceived my first child, but the next morning I could tell that something had happened, and it was very painful to use the bathroom. And I couldn't believe that somebody would be such a dirtbag and take advantage of me at a weak moment. I only had a couple of drinks. And at that time, I was able to drink some dudes underneath the table. And people are like, well, you need to heal. Oh, a traumatic experience. Oh, oh, she's got issues. The more naysay I hear, the more negative talk I hear about me opening up about something that happened in my, something that did happen in my life. The last thing I want to hear is that I'm damaged. The last thing I want to hear is that I've got issues or something. I've handled my shit. I've raised my children. And for somebody to say that I'm crazy for what I did and all this, you really don't know until you're actually wearing the exact same shoes as somebody as to why they made the choices that they made. You really don't know or have any place of opinion. I mean, you could be a damn psychologist, and I'm still going to be like, did you go through this? Have you experienced something of this nature? And when they say no, and they're the professional, and they've got all this down, and they've studied this, and I'm like, if you haven't lived my shoes, if you have not been through the exact same experience as me, then you have no reason, no right to condemn me to anything. My last few experiences, because I had people convince me I need to go to counseling. I go to these and I see the behavior, and I watch how they talk, and I see how they try to relate to me. I'm just like, you know what? No. Mine is a medical condition, not a mental condition. Now, it does sometimes bring bouts of depression, but with the vitamin D on top of my medication and everything, I'm not exactly seeing the reason, like, where my depression is getting the best of me. It did get the best of me when I was at a very low point in my life. And because of one stupid mistake someone makes, they're completely labeled. But that's not the case. I got away from the situation. And I believe in promoting women to get away from emotionally abusive men. Physically, emotionally, financially abusive men. Someone that tells me, this is another thing, this is financial abuse. You're at the store with your mate. You're shopping and everything, right? And you had an experience happen before where you were not able to, card declined at the register. You're not able to take the items that you picked at home. This was the second time. I specifically asked him, even when we got to the register, because I was buying stuff for the children, I was buying stuff for our home. At the register, before we even got to the register, are you sure it's not going to decline? You're positive it's not going to decline because we had separate accounts. Who's married and has separate accounts? We did. We went through that. I say we as me and him. We get there, it declines. Come to find out, his mother was his power of attorney. And he couldn't even control his own finances. You kind of have to tell these things before you get married. You know? Finding out that you basically married so someone can get more money on their paycheck is a pretty dirtbag thing to do. Because I'm one of those old-fashioned people. I believe in marrying because you're in love with somebody, because you love somebody, not because they bring you extra income, not because they want to have a child with you, or because you're pregnant with their child. It's like it's a 2-for-1 deal. It's like, yeah, more money. No, that is the most douchiest dirtbag thing anyone has ever pulled on me. And I've had some pretty dirty shit done. Because if I hadn't had these really terrible life experiences with people supposedly called the good guys, the war heroes, whatever else that pumps their ego, that I couldn't sit in this car driving and telling you that I have a fear of dating. People can be so rotten and so heartless and cruel because they want power, money, and control. You're like, well, isn't power equal control? Not so much, because not everybody in power has control. So when people really do shitty things to other people, that's your impression of them. You are getting a first-hand impression of what you're going to wind up with. So another side to that story of the girl pretty to fuck and everything. Well, then guys are going to say, well, she shouldn't have spread her legs. She shouldn't have done this. You know what? I am so fucking tired of hearing how it's the woman's fault because she spread her leg. Well, she should have known better. You should have known better before opening up your fucking mouth to lead her on. You should have known better before even approaching someone that you weren't for sure if you liked. If you don't like somebody, guess what? You don't fuck them. You don't lead them on, and you make it very clear. We are just friends, platonic friends. There will be nothing of this nature taking place. Then there's people that change their mind and realize, well, maybe it was too soon. I needed to get to know you better. And then you find out, again, they're a douchebag. They were only in it for the punani. What a dirtbag thing to do. And I see these guys posting all these great videos of how they treat their woman and everything, but yet, guess what? In these videos, I don't see the woman. And that tells me, guess what? These dudes are fucking baiting chicks. Knock it off. And if you got a woman, you might want to show her off, because I see the way the girls are commenting. Oh, you're so hot. Oh, I would love to take you home and all this stuff. Ladies, quit sounding like thirsty fucking whores. My God, I cannot get over this society and how we have been, like, social media, propaganda, media, all these different forms of infiltrations into your home where your young children are watching and gaining knowledge they shouldn't have knowledge about. And guys with their hormones, get a fucking fleshlight. You know what a fleshlight is? It's like it's a pocket pussy. I recommend it. Ladies, if you don't want to lose your virginity, you might want to come up with some hobbies or something to where, you avoid hanging out with dudes. Don't invite them into your bedroom. Don't be hanging out with them, and don't be hanging out with multiple dudes. No. If you're going to do public outings with dudes to get to know them and stuff, you do public outings with friends. You do not. These times and days, you can't trust guys. At my goodbye party. Now, granted, I already had a child, so we know I'm not a virgin. At my goodbye party on the island, and they made sure that I was no longer. I was in between citizen and soldier mode. So I had a goodbye party. And this guy invited, like, oh yeah, come on over. I had my son with me. And they gave me a drink. And I had one of the most eye-opening experiences. I can't believe I made it out of there, but thanks to my battle, my girl, one of my best friends, has been my friend since I made it to my first duty station. Apparently, the proper send-off is where guys want to run a train on the girls. Now, I thought this guy and me were going to stay in touch, and I thought he'd be cool and everything. I had no idea that people that I thought were my, that I made some cool friends and stuff, I had no idea at the age of 25. I was 25 when it took place. A group of guys were not only going to try and get me drunk in front of my kid, right? Because I was stupid and I just thought, oh, one drink wouldn't hurt. But then this drink made me want to have another. So I had a couple of drinks. And I'm a lightweight when I drink. Alright? These assholes were all in this dude's room and waiting for me. These assholes were soldiers. American soldiers. And the proper send-off is basically you get her good and drunk and you pass her around. I didn't let that happen. By the time me and the guy were making out, I heard a guy in the back corner with a belt buckle. He was known as Cowboy. And then someone was closing the door. His name was Cooper, the guy that gave me my drink. And the guy that was on top of me, his name was Sean Dunn, but they called him Dunovich. And this asshole thought I was going to be cool with it. So, I'm reaching out. He's got a milk crate right next to his bed. Thank God. I had the coherency to grab a knife. And I put it up against his back and said, she's got a knife! So obviously, I wasn't in the room with just him, right? Now I got verbal confirmation we're not alone. I put up against his back and I said, get the fuck off me. My battle is banging on the door. They took my purse and they hid it. My son is in the next room sleeping. And if it wasn't for her pounding on the door, coming in with a broom and ready to take these fuckers out, I'd probably be more fucked up than when people claim I am. Right? Because I have told people some of my, my horror stories with guys. They want to be next. They want to be disrespectful and they want to lead me on and get the same action. They have no intention to love me. They have no intention to be a part of my life on a permanent basis. But they're all like, well, shit, she can handle it. Let me get my dibs in. You're a dirtbag. You know who you are. Then I had found out the guy that I was married to, guys that broadcast this shit had ran a train on a girl in a porta potty. Apparently in the military, this is something they want to do. I don't know, maybe this is to push women out or something, but in my time when this was going down and everything, this was the thing to do. A proper send-off from the island is you give her a proper send-off is where they run a train on you. Bravo, dirtbags. You didn't get to run a train on me, but I just wanted to be as far away from you as possible. You group of guys that that got away doing that with other women, you're dirtbags. And you're fucked up. And I hope you had shitty lives. I do. best friend was so mad at me when I got out of the service, we couldn't talk. She was so mad at me. We ended up having her boyfriend come get us. And before that, this Cooper, one of the guys, whoever it was, punched her in the fucking face and called her a nigger. The most terrible thing you could ever call the most beautiful hearted woman I have ever crossed paths with. And I thought for sure I lost my friend, but we reconnected, and I'm so glad we did. I've watched how well she's grown into a wonderful woman, a great mother. She's even got her own podcast. I think she calls it, I Think I Love My Kids. You should check her out. One of the greatest women I've ever came across. And had my back. I don't understand how we have people in power that do shitty things to other individuals. I don't understand how people that do shitty things get away with it and get granted great lives. I don't understand it. And I hope that I can be a part of making these changes so other women and other boys and other people just don't have to go through what I had to in life to learn just how shitty people can be towards people that are under the influence. I mean, when you drink around someone, then you're saying you trust them. When you get high with someone, you're saying you trust them. People break your trust and break your faith in humanity by pulling stupid stunts like that. So I don't recommend getting with soldiers until they've been briefed and that they've gotten counseling. Because you're going to hear some pretty shitty horror stories of how people are in the service. You're going to hear about married soldiers trying to get with the new soldiers. You're going to hear how officers flirt with soldiers. It's called fraternization for a reason. They accused me of that because I had somebody give me a ride to work. Saw me walking and I got chastised for it. I'm hoping that the lieutenant got chastised for it too, but so when you know, pretty enough to fuck, right? Well, I'm past that. You need to have your shit together. You need to not be a dirtbag. You need to have a decent heart and not be cruel to people, animals. I don't want to witness you throwing objects in front of children. I don't want to witness you do shitty things to sabotage not just your own life, but other people's lives. Where you're sabotaging their future. I don't want to see people doing that anymore. I really want to see people making better choices in life and not getting sucked into drugs and alcohol and sabotaging their futures. I don't want people being taken advantage of. I don't want people being used anymore. I want people to be held accountable. I want people to think before they decide to hurt somebody. I want people to think that it's to have conscience and moral compass instilled or installed in them to where they get angry and upset when they hear dastardly shit being done to others, and not, where a guy can go into a group on Facebook and broadcast what a douchebag he is, where people are cheering him on for being a dirtbag. That's the kind of life I want to have from now on. I don't want to witness any more dirtbag shit. I don't want people at work to take advantage of their coworkers so they can sleep their way on the top and get keys. I don't want to hear about girls being pregnant because their fathers are raping them. Pretty enough to fuck. That's awful. Such a terrible thing to even think of yourself as, because people don't want to be held accountable. People don't want the responsibility. What comes after you take someone's virginity. Nobody wants the responsibility of what happens when you sleep with someone. The aftermath, people. You don't want to face it? Then don't fucking do it. I mean, who are you to jump into bed with someone with no intentions of keeping them? No intentions of being a part of their life. No intention of fulfilling the trust. Like I said, you're all dirtbags. All of you. And I don't feel bad saying this because that's a dirtbag fucking thing to do. Well, I'm at work. Y'all have a good one.